There was no banner, just a piece of paper. The crowd was not military men, just civilians. There was no flight suit, but there was an airplane. And for a combination of deception and naivete and the consequential loss of life and freedom, it is the only thing comparable in the last 100 years of Western democracy. The British Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain, stepping off a flight from Munich at Heston Aerodrome in England on September 30, 1938, reading the note he and Hitler had signed, guaranteeing the freedom of Czechoslovakia and concluding, "My good friends, for the second time in our history, a British Prime Minister has returned from Germany bringing peace with honor. I believe it is peace for our time. Go home and get a nice quiet sleep." Our number one story on the countdown tonight, only that perhaps is comparable to what George W. Bush said 5 years ago today. Misleading, disingenuous, deliberately deceptive. Only in those ways was it mission accomplished.
My fellow Americans, major combat operations in Iraq have ended. In the Battle of Iraq, the United States and our allies have prevailed. And now our coalition is engaged in securing and reconstructing that country.
Protesters today unfurling a mission accomplished banner in front of the White House, but the distance the Bush administration has tried to put between itself and the original banner began months after the original event. As early as October of 2003, the White House claimed the crew of the USS Abraham Lincoln had asked for the banner to commemorate its 10-month mission. White House Press Secretary Dana Perino still replaying that tired old lie of a refrain yesterday.
President Bush is well aware that the banner should have been much more specific and said, mission accomplished for these sailors who are on this ship on their mission. And we have certainly paid a price for not being more specific.
Madam, who do you think you're fooling? That is true, huh? It's all about the president, isn't it? He paid the price. The price paid by 3,908 servicemen and women since this declaration of mission accomplished was their lives. For 29,000 more wounded, it was their well-being. Not to mention the cost in national treasure and debt and the unmeasurable damage to the national psyche. All three presidential candidates made statements today, but that of Senator John McCain flatly disingenuous, telling reporters, quote, "To state the obvious, I thought it was wrong at the time. Those statements and comments did not comport with the facts on the ground. But do I blame the president for that specific banner? I can't blame him for that." In June 2003, though, when an interviewer told McCain that many argued the conflict was not over, McCain said, quote, "Well then, why was there a banner that said mission accomplished on the aircraft carrier? Look, I have said a long time that reconstruction of Iraq would be a long, difficult process, but the conflict, the major conflict, is over. The regime change has been accomplished, and it's very appropriate." And on May 22nd, 2003, in his own speech from the Senate floor, McCain said, quote, "The end is very much in sight." A bout of myopia pointed out by Senator Obama in his statement today. Let's turn now to MSNBC political analyst Rachel Maddow, whose own show airs weeknights on Air America. Rachel, good evening.
Hi, Keith.
The White House is still acting like this was a gotcha moment, an annual gotcha moment. They still don't get it?
They said today that the reason they paid a political price was because the banner was not specific enough. If only the banner had said, what was it? Mission accomplished for these sailors on this ship on their mission. They're making the claim that nobody would have minded that Bush declared major combat over, that he wore the flight suit, that he kept that aircraft carrier off the coast of San Diego for the purpose of the photo op, and that we had prevailed. It's as if they think that the long, more poorly worded banner would have made this all right, as if it was just needed to just be rebranded. It's inconceivable at this point.
Well, it proves once again that the only thing that they're even halfway good at is half-assed lying, and they're really not that good at that. These are not very bright people, on top of not being very human people or very sensitive people. And to that point, we now have an update on this horrible number from April, that it's 52 U.S. troops who were killed. The Defense Department has confirmed that number. It's the deadliest month since September of last year. What is it going to take to reignite that core of anger that had developed justifiably in this country over this godforsaken war?
In addition to the update of the number of troops killed in April, we also heard today, there's a report in the San Diego Union Tribune of an Army Ranger, a young Army Ranger who was killed in Afghanistan this week, who was on his 7th tour. 7 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. I think that the well of anger about Iraq is always there to be tapped. But I think it maybe becomes something that can't be shushed, something that can't be excluded from the national discussion when we start focusing on the opportunity cost of what we've done, what we've actually put our military families through, what we've done in terms of our readiness. The fact that Right now, as of this month, we are re-invading parts of Afghanistan that are Taliban controlled. When we are when we are this many years into the Afghanistan conflict, that we've got Marines deployed in Afghanistan who've never been there before, who've done many tours in Iraq. What we've done with our military readiness, what we've asked our military families to go through, is something that needs to be weighed against what we've actually won from these conflicts. And I think the closer we focus on the cost to our military and the people who've been there on the front lines, the more difficult it will be to dim that outrage.
This isn't, the dimming of the outrage is not some sort of failure on people's part, I don't think. It's an honest human emotion. We actually, all of us want this to go well. We want to hear no Americans killed this month in Iraq. We want to hear that number. And anything that suggests, well, even if it's a bald-faced lie like John McCain, that everything is going well, or Joe Lieberman, that this is working when it clearly is not working, or if it was anywhere close to working, that has now passed. We want to believe this. We still, at heart, want to believe this.
We want to know that we are getting something that we need as a country from what we have devoted to these wars. We want to know that the investment that we've made in blood and in honor and in our international standing, not to mention, not even getting to the money that we've actually spent. We want to know that it's brought us something that we need as a country. When the State Department puts out its annual terrorism report that says actually Al-Qaeda, largely as it was constituted before 9/11, is still the number one threat facing our country, 7 years heading into 7 years after 9/11, it makes you wonder what the war on terrorism has been about then. If it hasn't decreased the risk of terror, it hasn't weakened our adversaries, all it's done is weaken our own military and our own international standing, what's it been for?
Yeah, well, we can pretty much assume we know the answers to that. There are many of them, and they're all nefarious and conspiratorial. Last point, quickly, project forward. With the 6th anniversary of Mission Accomplished being 3 months into the next president's term, what's the best we can hope for in terms of withdrawal, do you think?
I think if we have John McCain as the next president, we won't be hoping for withdrawal at all. With Senator Clinton or Senator Obama, we will be hoping for a start. At least we will be hoping for somebody who is aiming at withdrawal. Most of what we'll have that's different between now and then is hope. There won't be much difference on the ground.
A grim anniversary, a grim story, and I nightly wish that occasion occurs that I don't have to sign the show off the same way. Rachel Maddow of Air America and MSNBC, thanks for coming in tonight.
Thank you, Keith.
Sadly, though, that is countdown for this, the 1,827th day since the declaration of mission accomplished in Iraq. 5 years. Sleep well, Mr. President.